You're listening to Sensitive, Spiritual, and Successful, the podcast where we uncover ways to connect you back to your soul self and get you unstuck so that you can live out your full potential. I'm Jasmine Lynn, a former psychotherapist turned human design soul guide and EFT tapping success coach, and I'm here to show you how to love yourself through all your levels of growth. I know you're here because you have an impact you want to make in this world and you have a light to share, and I'm here to guide you through that journey because you deserve soul-aligned success. Hey everyone, welcome back to Sensitive, Spiritual, and Successful. Today, I want to give you a little practical tool that you can begin to use to actually benefit from this nervous system regulation that you are working on. This is just like one little piece to link it into true healing. Okay, so let's get into it. Why does mindset work alone not actually stick? I've shared this before, but I've had clients when I worked in the community before I really got into deeper trauma studies and helping people. But when I was just, working as a counselor, they'd say, well, Jazz, I'm saying these things to myself and they make sense. They make logical sense, but I still feel like shit. I still don't feel good. And that was a huge thing for me because I am somebody who experiments. I am somebody who, even as a counselor, when people would come to me, I would often challenge myself to see, I can sit there and say, yeah, just do this. This is what the textbook says. But that didn't really sit with me. I had to try it myself because I wanted to know how difficult it was to actually change. And anyway, so when a particular client had said that to me, I said, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It is really hard. And then we talked about relaxation techniques and things like that. And sure, they work in the moment, but what I'm going to talk about, this is something that I've used on myself, and I can really see that it supports the whole nervous system regulation, not just being a calm down method, but a healing method. So, okay, if you've ever done affirmations, you've tried positive thinking, maybe even journaled about your limiting beliefs, but you still end up stuck in the same patterns, this is for you. Okay, so here's the truth. Your mindset doesn't shift just because you tell it to. It shifts when you clear old patterns. Mindset work is a byproduct of doing the deeper work. What do I mean by that? Your mindset gets right, I guess you could say. It corrects itself when you do the deeper work. So I want to walk you through exactly what this all means and share a technique, like I said, to help you start shifting things on a much deeper level. So for so long, I thought I just needed to change my thoughts. I know a lot of you feel that way too, because that's what's being preached. And then you hear about nervous system regulation, and then that's all about calming your body so that you can think more clearly. But there's something deeper. I thought if I could just push past my fear, if I could just reframe, I'd be free, right? And sometimes it worked for a moment, okay? But then the fear would creep back in, the same reactions, same patterns. It's like a loop of the same dang thing. And so what I realized is that I wasn't just dealing with thoughts, I was dealing with deeply ingrained patterns. And it had been running my entire life. So I didn't even realize it because until you really bring your consciousness to it, it kind of just runs in the background, right? That's a subconscious mind. A lot of people say that the subconscious mind is like a programming inside of you, and it's just running without you having to do anything, like a computer, right? It just does all the work and it's just running your life or your behaviors and patterns. So your nervous system has been shaped by every experience you've ever had. I'll give you a personal example. This is one of the moments that really, really, it just dawned on me. It's like the universe was like, learn your lesson here. So when my firstborn was born, I was worried about everything. Okay, actually, if you had known me maybe 10 years ago, just super, super anxious. I got a lot of shit done though, but that was all on the stress response. And I think I shared in another episode that actually at the age of 20, I went to a naturopath and they're like, yeah, you have adrenal fatigue. I was just a hot mess. Okay. And now I've obviously, I know myself a lot better. I've done a lot of work, and that's why I want to teach you this so that you can begin to do this for yourself. So anyway, I was worried about everything. I was very, very hypochondriac type of person. Okay. And so I was constantly Googling every little issue preparing for the worst, trying to make sure I caught anything before it became a real problem. Like I still kind of do that, but in a more calm way. Like I like to prepare, but I was just really, really anxious with her. And every little symptom or every little thing that she did, I thought, oh my gosh, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And so, yeah, I struggled a lot. And then for a while, it was like normal. It was like, well, this is just what moms do. This is just who I am. I just care a lot and I want to make sure everybody's safe. Like those are the things that I would tell myself to justify how bonkers I was about Googling. I know they say don't Google, but when you're in that mode, you're Googling. Like you're like, I don't care. But okay, one day, it was so random. It was like middle of the night. It totally hit me, probably because of what I've been reading and studying and everything. But it hit me that I had always been like this my whole entire life. I had been stuck in a pattern of preparing for the worst, hypervigilance. I thought everyone around me was going to die. If they were driving to work, I would be like praying to God that this person doesn't, like my parents, my brother. Like I was always preparing for the worst. And so, oh, there's my dog. Let's see if he wants in. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I'll edit that out or maybe I won't. But anyway, I had a constant need to be ready for something bad to happen. And so really it wasn't just about my baby. It showed up everywhere, like my relationships, the people I got really close to, and then like in my business, what if there's too much responsibility? What if something bad happens? I just realized like that exact same feeling triggered my need to Google and then like almost being addicted to that feeling, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it all the time. We get addicted to our emotions. And I just saw that in that moment that I was so addicted to that feeling of like need to worry. And my body was craving it. And so, like I said, it showed up everywhere. So, yeah, the moment of realization and true healing that allowed me to see my reaction for what it was and kind of step away from it or could observe it differently was because I was able to bridge that affect. And so this is what I'm going to teach you right now. I don't know who coined that term, I guess. I don't know. I read it in my energy psychology textbook. So maybe it was Dr. David Feinstein. Don't know where I can give credit to that. But that's where I read it. And so bridging the affect. So how do you actually do this work? I think it's super powerful and it's super simple. So the next time you have a strong emotional reaction, whether it's fear, overwhelm, sense of panic, pause for a second. And instead of trying to talk yourself out of it or like engage in the behavior that fuels it, like me, the whole Googling, or maybe you start an argument or maybe you start a fight, right? Totally normal because we're seeking that emotion or we're seeking that response. But pause and feel it and notice where it lives in your body. And then ask yourself, when was the first time I ever felt this way? Where that shows up, you may have felt that in the past. Okay, so what you're feeling most of the time, like I said, especially when your reactions are so big for what is happening in the present moment, it's oftentimes something that you have developed, in the past, a pattern you've developed in the past, a response. And usually from a compassionate lens, and I want you to hear this, it was through survival, right? You were adapting to your situation, but right now it's not helpful. And what would be helpful right now is to clear the emotions you feel around whatever it was and then move forward. It's because you are recognizing where you are projecting your past onto your present moment. This is what is going to get you to a place where you can move forward. So as soon as I was able to see that my reaction was something I had always done, I put on this protective mode of worry and trying to get on top of, the worst case scenario. So how I was feeling, that feeling inside of my body was very, very familiar. It echoed through many different areas of my life. And when I was able to look at the root of it, where I started to first really feel that, there's situations, obviously, where you try and prepare for the worst and the worst still happens. And then, for me personally, there was just this really deep core belief. And that's not uncommon, right? If there's a lot of experiences that you've had, a belief can form because that's your way of thinking. All those thoughts eventually turn into a belief or a core belief in how you perceive the world. And so it can get really, really deep. But to just sum it up, however you're feeling and you're regulating your nervous system, ask yourself, when was the first time you have felt those feelings in your body? So it'll be very, very specific to you. Like my worry that I was feeling, it was like a rush. Like it was figure it out. You need to figure it out or something bad's going to happen. So yeah, it's really great though, because once you're able to find that root, life becomes a little more like you're not on this autopilot and you're wondering, I don't know if this is something that happens to you, but you're wondering like, why do I do that? Like, why is that? Why am I like that? And we chalk it up to anxiety. Obviously, I did. It would be a lot more manageable, and I could just see my anxiety in the present moment instead of piles and piles of baggage that I've carried. So, yeah, there's usually an old emotional charge, like I said, that never fully got processed, might be a belief. And when you trace it back, you start to see the original wound. So you start to understand why your body reacts the way it does. And once you see it, you can start to release it. So takeaway for today, if you've been frustrated with mindset work or like seeing that nervous system regulation is helpful, but that it just calms you in the moment, this might be your missing piece. Okay. So yeah, if you feel or have felt like you should be able to just think differently, but something deeper keeps pulling you back, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you. Your mind is not the problem. And so, yes, your nervous system, when you are feeling in a stress response, you can bring yourself back to calm. But remember that stress response you feel, if you can bridge, I mean, obviously it exists for a reason. Okay, so let me just say this. When you are having a reaction, I'm just using that term, maybe not the best term, but when you are seeing yourself respond in a way that causes a lot of stress for you, remember that it's there for survival. So like if there's a situation where your nervous system is legitimately freaking out because, there's a tiger in front of you or something, right? That is an appropriate response. Okay. I'm talking about like the little things that you're like, whoa, I am really freaking out, or wow, I really do this over like the most little things. And I wish I could control that. I wish I could figure that out. This might be your ticket. And yeah, so try it. Just pause, feel it, ask yourself where it started and see what comes up for you. Or if you're working with a healthcare professional, a counselor, a therapist, somebody who's able to hold space for you and is trauma informed, bring this up with them. See if you can process those together. Obviously, me being me, I use EFT tapping to help clear that, rewire the beliefs, feel feelings. So yeah, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear what you uncover, if this helped you or if this is something that you want to try. This is something you thought that was missing. If this episode resonated, please feel free to share, because this is the kind of work that truly sets you free, and I want that for you.
And that's it for today's episode. Please share it with anyone else who wants to learn more about human design, or anyone who may be on their personal growth and spiritual development journey. You can DM me on Instagram to talk about what resonated with you, what you learned about yourself. I love hearing about human design in real life, so I really appreciate those conversations. And if you would like, you can leave a comment, a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. That support means the world. Thank you so much for listening. I know time is a valuable currency. Take care.